Okay, so here we are live once again with another Mcfarlane DC Multiverse unboxing, and this is Alfred Pennyworth from Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. The great Jeremy Irons, one of the greatest actors alive, I think. Man, this guy's done some great work. Besides Alfred, I think probably my favorite role of his was Die Hard with a Vengeance, where he played the villain in that. He was fantastic. Guys like been nominated for Oscars. He's won Oscars. He's one of the greats. So let's go ahead and open them up. Cut the tape here. Oh, and let's have a look at the picture on the back of Alfred. You know, I'm not sure if Alfred's actually a butler in these movies. Like I know he's basically like Bruce Wayne's assistant, his aide de camp, as it were. But you don't see him doing a lot of butling. You don't see him bringing him his breakfast or tidying up, doing the laundry, that kind of thing. He doesn't. He doesn't seem to do the whole manservant bit, like as far as like keeping up the house, which is what the butler basically is supposed to do. And my Aunt June is here. Hi, Aunt June. Hope you're doing well. So, but he does kind of function a lot as Batman's gadget guy in this movie, and helps him with a lot of the equipment. So, and you can see that by the figure's accessories. He comes with a bunch of tools. He comes with an apron to put those tools in. So let's go ahead and open them up. I do really like on these BVS figures how they have their own sort of trade dress to them. I think that's really cool. So I always like it when McFarlane does that. So I always like to point that out when I notice it. Like the Batman and Robin figures all had the trade dress like that, and the Justice League Task Force figures. Oh, there's a lot of little teeny tiny accessories with this one. I hope they don't get lost. And check this out. So not only is the trading card on the same bubble with the stand this time, but the apron is also on said bubble. So hopefully that should make it easy to get all of these things off of here. Start with the stand and then work my way backwards. And it looks like, unfortunately, the trading card got stuck underneath the blister when they were printing it on. So my trading card got damaged. That's too bad. But there's the trading card, same photograph of Jeremy Irons on the back as Alfred. Bobby Wald is here and his says, "Who knew a butler could be such an exciting action figure?" Well, when that butler is Alfred Pennyworth, that's certainly the case. Fans of the comics, I don't need to tell you guys because you know just as well as me. Alfred is a pretty badass dude, and he's been a soldier, a medic, a secret agent, a brilliant Shakespearean actor. Which Jeremy Irons also is a brilliant Shakespearean actor. So yeah, and basically became a butler because it was his father's dying wish that one of his sons continue in the family tradition. So Alfred was the guy who stepped up to do it. So here's what the back of the card looks like, and it reads. Alfred Pennyworth, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, data file, real name NA, that means non applicable, but his real name is Alfred Pennyworth. So I don't know why, or is it? Originally in the Golden Age, his last name was not Pennyworth. It was actually, his full name was Alfred Beagle. So they changed his name. I believe it was in maybe the Silver Age, maybe the Bronze Age, they wound up changing his name. But anyway, the British Special Forces veteran is more than just Bruce Wayne's butler or Batman's confidant. Alfred is a second father to Wayne and serves as his conscience when the never-ending fight against evil wears on the Cape Crusader. Pennyworth keeps the Bat family together through his compassion and leadership. Now that's a really good bio of Alfred, if a little brief, but I kind of feel like that one actually fits more with the comic book version of Alfred than the movie version of Alfred, just simply because we never see any Bat family in the movie. The only member of the Bat family we really get a hint towards is Robin himself, and Robin's dead in that continuity. So, and remember in BVS, Dick Grayson was the only Robin. So Dick Grayson is dead. in that universe. Yeah, so which explains why Batman is quite a bit darker in that iteration than most others. He didn't have Tim Drake to come in and you know get him back on track. Like and he didn't have Dick Grayson there for moral support because he was the Robin that died. That's so sad. Anyway, I got the typical matte black DC Comics base with the glossy DC logo on it. Gotta love it. And he's got all kinds of hands and all kinds of tools. So let's go ahead and get on looking at some of these accessories. So I'm going to cut the tape on they're holding the hands in. I'm going to try to peel the whole piece off, and the hands are actually sticking to it, which is advantageous for me. It makes it easier to remove them. And we can have a look at all the hands that come with Alfred. Now, I haven't really looked at these closely yet, but I'm going to assume right off the bat, and we'll see if I'm right, that these are the same exact hands, just mirrored for each side. There might be some differences, but I can see that some hands are going to be the same exact hands that are mirrored, one for the left hand and one for the right hand. So we're going to talk about that. Let me get this tape off on my finger, and then we'll get into this. And it looks like some of these hands are the same, and some of them are not. But let's have a look at the hands on the figure, and then we'll figure all that out. We'll figure all that out. Oh, so then we got all these tools here, and I'm going to try to pull all those out on the same piece of tape, just like I did with the hands. So it looks like there's some pliers and a file and a screwdriver and a wrench and probably some snips. I'm not sure exactly. I'll have a closer look in a minute. And then Alfred himself, who looks to me like he reuses the Heath Ledger Joker body, specifically the version from the interrogation room, which was some kind of exclusive. I think it was a San Diego exclusive, but I could be wrong about that. Regardless, I was never able to find that figure. And anytime I see him for sale online, he's very expensive. So I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to get any of those Dark Knight figures because all of them seem to be ridiculously expensive, except for the Jokerized version of the Scarecrow and the Jokerized version of Two-Face. And I'm not really interested in Jokerized figures at all. So probably not going to pick those up. But there's Alfred on the package. You can see he's got a gray button-up shirt with the sleeves kind of rolled up, kind of burgundy sort of vest, some brown pants, black tie, black shoes, very nicely dressed. But again, not like a formal butler outfit. This is a little more sort of business casual, maybe. More emphasis on the business than the casual. And he's got like this vest is soft rubber, and you can if you pinch it, you can feel that. Like I don't think he really has like an abdominal piece underneath in the classic sense. Maybe I can see up under there. I don't want to pull the whole thing apart because the vest does kind of layer over the pants. Unfortunately, it seems like it's also left kind of an oily residue on his pants. Ew. So anyway, let's have a look at the accessories real quick. Where did I put the apron? Yeah, so here's the apron, and you can see it just kind of ties in the back. It is a soft goods apron. It appears to me to just be like an ordinary cotton fabric. It's not like a pleather or anything like that. It's probably supposed to be like a canvas type material. I didn't pay too much attention to Alfred's apron in the movie. Next time I watch the movie, I probably will, since now I'm going to be thinking about it. But Alfred, his apron should just kind of loop over his head, and then we can tie it about the waist. And unfortunately, it seems like the ties come a little low. They're going to go right over his buttocks, and really they should go over his his waist. So I think maybe they made the ties a little lower on there than they should. And I'm just gonna do a simple little, not even like a full knot I'm just going to do it like that. That'll be enough to hold it on. So let's have a look at these hands. And straight away on the figure, he's got kind of a pointing hand, probably admonishing Master Bruce for something. And then he's got a gripping hand on his left hand, and this one is mirrored. There is a gripping hand for the right hand that looks pretty much exactly the same. And this hand over here, there's another one that's pretty much exactly the same, the pointing hand. So yes, these are basically 4 sets of hands that are all identical to each other. So you got 2 gripping hands, one for the left and one for the right. You've got 2 pointing hands, one for the left, one for the right. 2 solid fists in case Alfred's got to punch a guy, and you know he can. Got 2 solid fists, one for the left and one for the right, and 2 of these kind of gesturing hands, one for the left and one for the right. So there we go. They're all the exact same hands. And how well is he going to be able to hold on to his tools? Which I know is something that you out there are fascinated by. I know you're really interested to know how well Alfred handles his tools. So let's go ahead and have a look at that. So with these little snips, you can kind of pinch him over his fingers and you kind of hold them like that. Or you could have him like grip the whole thing. Let's see how well he holds on to that. Hopefully pretty well. I'm kind of thinking like since I got to pinch him to get him into the hand, the tension kind of holds him in there fairly well. So that's good. And we can go ahead and put that into this pocket in the front of his. This is supposed to be a functional pocket that you can put the tools into. So I don't know how many I'm going to be able to fit in there, because you see the pocket isn't very big, but you know I can fit some in there, so that's nice. And then these pliers, let's go ahead and have a look at those. And he can hold those pretty well, better than the snips, I think. Let's see if we can fit those into the pocket. They probably should have made this pocket a little bit bigger, and then I think you could have fit more tools in here. I think that 2 is going to be the limit, though. I think 2 is about the most I'm going to want to try to fit in here. So I'm going to leave the pliers in there, and probably have the screwdriver be the other tool, or maybe the wrench. I think I'll have the wrench be the other tool. So here's the wrench. Meanwhile, back at the wrench, and Alfred could go and pop somebody upside the head with this thing. He doesn't hold the wrench as well as the other ones. There's just not quite as much. You can see there's not quite as much tension. It fits in there kind of loosely. So I think the wrench is going to be the perfect candidate to be one of the tools that fits in the pocket in the front. Let's go ahead. We got 2 more accessories to look at. If I could find where I put that. Where did it go? Did it fall on the floor? I hope it didn't fall on the floor. Otherwise, I'm just going to stop talking about them because here it is. I just got a lot of stuff on my desk. So we got the screwdriver, and he holds the screwdriver quite nicely. So that's cool. And then last but not least, this file. So let's have him hold the file. And the file doesn't really, again, it's really loose to fit the file in there. But if you turn it sideways, he can hold it okay. So I think that how I'm going to have him set up is I'm going to have him with the pliers and the wrench in his pocket there. There's seams at the bottom, but that doesn't seem to be a pocket. And there's seams at the waist. That doesn't seem to be a pocket. But he can hold the screwdriver really well. So I think that's going to be the accessory that I'm going to have him hold. And then just have the rest in his apron. So let's go ahead and we'll get the apron off, and then we'll talk about Alfred's articulation. Now, this is the second Alfred figure that Mcfarlane has made in the Multiverse line, and I think the third Alfred that he's made overall, because he also, if you remember, I have an unboxing for that one too. The 66 line has its own Alfred based on the original Alfred, Alan Nate. Well, not the original Alfred, the TV show Alfred. there was one more Alfred before him in the movie serial. Aunt June says great accessories. Yeah, they did a really good job with the accessories. I like the fabric apron, and it's nice that he's got a pocket that holds the tools in the front, even though it doesn't hold all of them. Unfortunately, you can put a couple of them in there and have some character. Now they did the other multiverse Alfred they did was the one that came with the Batman Forever Batmobile. And like this one, it had an excellent likeness of the actor. In that case, it was Michael Gough. In this case, it's obviously, Jeremy Irons. So let's go ahead and talk about the articulation. Alfred can look up about that far, look down about that far, tilt his head kind of quizzically from side to side, rotate the head all the way around. Of course, the arms rotate all the way around to the shoulders. They don't have the spacer in there like Mcfarlane figures often do, but they do kind of technically have like a butterfly joint kind of thing going on there. Of course, Alfred can raise his arms up to the side about that far. Of course, he's got the bicep sole, so the bicep rotates all the way around. You got double jointed elbows. That's about the range of motion you get at the elbows. Alfred's wrists rotate all the way around. He's got those cool Mcfarlane ball joints at the wrists, so we can move them. There's basically a horizontal hinge or a vertical hinge or a diagonal hinge or any which way you want it to go. Great wrist joints. I love the Mcfarlane wrist joints. They're always great. He's telling Diana, don't scold the tea. Now you want to let it mash, and being all particular about how Wonder Woman makes her tea. I do love the Jeremy Irons version of Alfred. He was quite good. A lot of the times people ask who's the best actor to play Alfred, and it's a tough choice because there hasn't ever been a bad Alfred. All of them have been pretty great. If I had to pick one to be the absolute best, I think I would probably go with Alan Napier just because he was the guy who set the standard. But honestly, Michael Gough is just as good. Michael Caine, he's just as good. Jeremy Irons, freaking awesome actor. He's a great Alfred. The only one that I can think of that I might say was not as good as the rest, and it's not even his fault. Is because I'm a huge fan of this guy too, Andy Serkis in The Batman, and it's not because he did a bad job. It's because he wasn't given anything to do. Really, he's barely in the movie, so he doesn't have a lot to work with. I think he could be great in the role if maybe if the sequel actually gets made. We'll see. Still don't. I still don't have a lot of faith it'll get made, but like maybe then he can prove his Pennyworth. See what I did? But yeah, Jeremy Irons was a fantastic Alfred, and I'm glad that we got an action figure of him. That's really cool. I know Mcfarlane doesn't have a lot of time left, and the longer that it takes, the less likely it seems. But I do really wish we could have gotten a Michael Caine Alfred. I think that would have been really cool. Like even though he's in a different scale from this, we did get Alan Napier, and we got the Michael Gough that came with the Batmobile, so that was really cool. So it's nice that Mcfarlane has given Alfred, I think, the respect that he deserves. He's such a great character, and I think he's probably like one of the best supporting characters in comics. I mean, like he's just such an entertaining character in his own right. You could do a story just about Alfred, and it would still be pretty good. Just Alfred doing like day-to-day stuff, like it's kind of sitcom-y kind of stuff. Or you could have Alfred get into adventures on his own. They did that during the Golden Age, and back then Alfred was a little more played for laughs, and he was supposed to be kind of an amateur detective kind of character, but not quite as good a detective as he thought he was. But even then, those are some really good stories. Those are some really fun comic book stories. They started to take Alfred a little more seriously as they got into the 1950s. And by the time the 1960s rolled along and Julie Schwartz had taken over as the editor of Batman, he decided to get rid of Alfred because, it's like there was a lot of talk from certain psychiatrists who wanted to sell books about how, Batman and Robin and Alfred were three men living alone in a mansion or something like that. And we know there was nothing going on between Alfred and, Batman and Robin. Like it was a whole bunch of nonsense. But still, since people were talking, he decided to write Alfred out of the strip and actually killed Alfred off. But a funny thing happened. A guy named Bill Dozier, was hired to make a Batman television series for ABC. You might have heard of it. It wound up becoming a big hit. But it made Batman a household name, made his comics sell in the millions, saved the character from cancellation. Yeah. And once that was over, they needed to get away from the image of the TV show, so it led indirectly to the classic Neil Adams, Denny O'Neil Batman comics, and reinvented the character for the Bronze Age. So very important show. But Mr. Dozier, he felt like Alfred was too important of a character to leave out, and insisted that Schwartz bring the character back in the comics. And Schwartz was like, well, he's dead. And Dozier was like, well, you can figure out a way. So they did. They brought him back. And basically, like some mad scientist had found Alfred in his grave with the faintest signs of life. Apparently, they buried this guy alive. He wasn't actually dead. He was simply mostly dead. So this guy dug him up and decided to, try some, raising people from the dead kind of experiments, and turned Alfred into a villain called the Outsider. Well, thankfully they cured Alfred of his villainy, and he went back to being Batman's butler, and he's been an important part of the saga ever since, until like a few years ago they killed him off in the comics again because they haven't learned their lesson. And apparently he's still dead. I figure they're probably going to eventually bring Alfred back in the comic. So unless they just wind up, ceasing publication of comics sometime between before they get the chance to bring back Alfred. Print is basically a dead media at this point. I'm sorry to say. We know it's true. It's on the way out. And comic books, as we know them, aren't going to last much longer, sadly. And I think that if comics have a future, eventually it's going to be people reading comics online. They'll be reading them on their tablets and their phones and their laptops and their desktops. And I know mostly when I read comics these days, I wind up reading them on my phone, even though it's not as good of an experience as, an actual physical paper comic book. So I still like having comic books, but it's the convenience of it, because you got the phone right there. And if I'm bored, sitting at the DMV or something like that, I can pull up an issue of Batman and read it. It's not that hard, But I used to carry like a backpack full of comic books around. Would be everywhere for that purpose. I don't have to do that anymore. So anyway, got a little sidetrack there. Anyway, Alfred's a great figure, and I don't think he's too hard to find. I got him on Amazon, and I've seen him at Target a few times. So I would highly recommend, if you're a fan of the character, that you pick him up. I do have over here, I've got Ben Affleck's Batman. So we can compare side by side. And have them do some snarky dialogue back and forth. So, and they do look good together. So it makes me wish that I'd had that unmasked Batman that they put out for Justice League a while back. I might see if I can try to get that one specifically, so I can have an unmasked Batman to go with my Alfred. Or, I could 3D print a Ben Affleck head and put it on here. I've got the file to do it, so shouldn't be too hard. Anyway, that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment and let me know what you think about Alfred Pennyworth, both this figure specifically and the character in general. And you can let me know what your favorite version of Alfred is in the comments. Like, who's your favorite live action actor to play Alfred? or what just your favorite version of Alfred in general. Like I really like that from Zimbalist Jr. Doing the voice of Alfred on Batman the animated series. But there's been lots of great actors playing him, lots of great comic book stories with Alfred. So, is there anything you want to say about Alfred in the comments? I like it when you leave comments. And speaking of liking things, make sure that you like and subscribe and all that fun YouTube stuff down below. YouTube likes it when I say like and subscribe. So when you like and subscribe, YouTube will show my videos to more people. And that will, encourage them to like and subscribe. And when they like and subscribe, it will send it out to even more people who potentially could like and subscribe. And it will continue. And eventually everyone in the world will be watching my videos and talking about how I talk too much and I should show the figure more, even though I hold up the figure through pretty much the entire video. And the entire point of this is for me to sit on my couch and talk about action figures. So that's what I'm here for. So you might as well complain that your pizza has too much cheese on it. Like, I don't know what you're. That's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Next episode, I'm going to be back with another Batman character because we got like a lot of Batman characters to get through. So I might as well go ahead and open up Batman himself. And I think I'll do the purple Batman from the Rainbow Batman story. And we'll talk a little bit about this story, which is one of the most infamous stories of the Silver Age. It's definitely like a kind of peak Silver Age goofiness as far as Batman comics go. A lot of people complain that the Adam West Batman television series made Batman ridiculous. Nah, man, like they made it more serious than it ever was in the comics. I mean, look at this. We'll talk more about it on the next episode. So make sure you don't miss that. And if you don't want to miss it, make sure you like and subscribe. Again, the whole like and subscribe thing. Apparently, YouTube likes it when I say that. Now, I've noticed I've had a slight uptick in my subscribers since I started saying like and subscribe more in my videos. So we'll just see how that goes. And I've got something printing out over here. I don't want to say what it is yet, but it's going to take me a while to print it out. But you can look forward to a short on that. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.